there! I'm just out looking for garter snakes. You know, it's about that time of year that they're gonna start finding places to go for winter, so it's a good time to see if you can spot some of those places. Hi everyone, my name is Kendall. I'm a student naturalist here at Schmeekley Reserve, and looking for snakes has always been one of my favorite activities. When I was younger, I always used to go out in the woods behind my house to search for snakes and skinks and see what I could find. But what's really cool about these snakes is how they survive winter. They have a really unique way of doing it, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that now. Surviving winter can be a real struggle for garter snakes, and the reason that it can be a struggle is because they are cold-blooded. To be cold-blooded means that your body temperature changes with the environment. So us humans, for example, we are warm-blooded. This means our body temperature stays at a constant and it does not change depending on how cold or warm it is outside. Now that doesn't mean we don't get cold or hot, it just means that our internal temperature doesn't change. So for garter snakes, they are cold-blooded. So this means when they are outside on a cold day like this, their body temperature would get much colder. So they have to find different ways to avoid this so they can survive. In summer months, garter snakes spend much of their time moving from different spots. So when it's really warm outside, they might stay hidden under a log or in some shade so they cool off a little bit. But then if their body temperature starts to get too low, they're going to find a sunny spot. This is why you often will see snakes sitting in very sunny spots or even turtles laying out on logs. They're trying to warm themselves up to keep their body temperature at a constant. So this is a big struggle for snakes, and as we move into winter, this is something that they have to try and solve. So, garter snakes must find somewhere to spend winter. It gets too cold for them to stay out here, so they will look for places like rodent burrows, under rock piles, under logs or stumps if they're deep enough. They will even find places to go inside if that's an option for them, which is why you might end up with garter snakes in your house. So when they find that these places that they're going to spend winter, they go under something called brewmation. This is similar to hibernation, but for reptiles. So during brewmation, they are fairly sluggish, they're not moving as much, they usually don't eat or drink and even move for a certain amount of time. It can be up to a couple of weeks, but it is not a true sleep like for animals that hibernate. So they can spend a couple weeks under wherever they have found a place, and the area that they spend their brewmation is called the hibernaculum. So finding a good place to go into brewmation can be kind of a struggle in some northern states like here in Wisconsin. The snakes have to get under the frost line so that they stay warm enough. Because of this, there often are not quite as many good options as for a place to spend winter. So as a result, many garter snakes will end up going to the same hibernacula and spend the winter there. But this also works out for them. So because there can be up to hundreds in one hole in one spot, they get to use each other and help keep each other warm. So when there are so many of them coiled up tightly, they use each other's body heat to keep at a regular temperature. On warmer days, some of them might venture out and they might find something to eat or find some sun to warm themselves. But in general, they spend the majority of their winter, anywhere from September to about April, in these hibernacula. After spending a cold winter together in their hibernacula, garter snakes eventually will start to come out in the spring as the weather starts to get warmer. To start out with, usually the males will emerge first, and then they will wait for some of the females to come out. This is when they get ready to start their family. So as the females start to come out, they are very popular, and all of the males want a chance to start their families with them. So sometimes you can see up to 15 to 20 males trying to get the attention of one female. And oftentimes this forms large masses or balls. So if you are lucky enough to come across garter snakes exiting their hibernacula in the spring, you can see up to hundreds of garter snakes all moving out at once. It's a really cool thing to see. After the female garter snake has chosen her mate, she will move back to her summer grounds where she will find food and a good spot to have birth. After this, all of the garter snakes will go back to enjoying the summer warmth. Garter snakes face a really unique challenge in trying to survive the winter because they are cold-blooded. They have to work together to try and survive and get through the winter, so eventually in the spring they can leave and start their family. So next time that you're out walking around Schmeekly and maybe you see a garter snake sitting out in the sun, think about all of the hard work that they put into surviving and how much extra they have to do to make it through the winter.